welcome to Funkatopia Live. It is my honor to welcome the one and only beautiful and talented Liv Warfield in the house. How are you, dear?
Thank you. That's so nice. Thank you. I'm so happy to be here, y'all.
Oh man, as I said, it's been so long since I've seen you. It's crazy how it's. What have you been up to? I mean, as I said, the last time you were on in the Funkatopia house was
Yeah,
2015. So
that's crazy.
I definitely missed you. It's so good to see you again.
Thank
What have you been up to?
you.
Let's not talk about the whole 7 years, but
Yeah,
what have
yeah.
you been up to the
Right,
past
right.
year?
Yeah,
We're
one or
gonna talk about the album and the tour here in just a second, but outside personal life, not talking
Yeah,
about tour or anything. What have you been doing the past year?
I've been trying to figure it out.
Mm.
Haven't we all? Yeah, I get it. I get it. I get it.
It's been good because it's been a serious ebb and flow, and I wouldn't change it at all, because I kind of learned a lot about myself, like from the last time you saw me in 2015. So I've been doing some theater stuff. I've been working with Nancy Wilson of Heart, which is amazing.
Right. Yeah.
I've had wins and damn sure several losses. Um, but at the same time, I found another side. I found another side, and I'm really excited right now.
So
Really.
what are some of the things on the other side? I mean, how do you feel like you've grown the most personally over the past year? What's some of the things that you've learned about yourself? Or we're gonna make this a Funk to Funk broadcast of what's gonna happen here.
Brace yourself.
But what have you learned? I mean, what are some of the things that have been the most prevalent that you learned about
Honestly,
yourself?
to authentically step into the light, right? I
Mm.
mean, with social media and all this stuff going on or whatever, it could be easy to get distracted. I was very distracted. And just I was searching outside to find out who I was as an artist. And even besides being an artist, just as I was as a person, you know.
Yeah.
So authentically, I'm like so happy, just kind of like dealing with the confidence side, who is live outside of on the stage stuff and all of that stuff. So I'm really happy for it, and that's why when I did the song Mantra, that it kind of really brought me to ground one, like seriously, back to my grassroots, back to the reason why I love making music, back to the reason why I just love living, stepping outside, having human interaction with people, period. So yeah.
That's awesome. I like that because this is the one thing that people are forgetting and losing sight of. You got to back away from social media. Everything is here to distract us. Not saying everything is bad, but
Right.
it's here to distract us. And at some point, until you let go, you can't find you. And
Absolutely.
you lose who you are or never really knew. So kudos.
Yeah. I found a lot of strength in it, like everything was great. Everything was golden. I mean, to be honest, when I had the TV shows or whatever, the Jimmy Fallons, that was amazing. And that part of the industry and the unexpected and stuff was amazing. But then that soon went like that.
Right.
Real talk. I'm being honest.
Yeah.
Because I really just was like, oh snap, mentor's not here. What do I do? Because you become so dependent. You become so dependent on the praise of like, you got that right. You did this, you did that. When it's like, man, you got to step out on your own, sis. You got to find your way. Right. And you got to make those mistakes. And I made them, boy. I made them. And I'm happy. I'm happy about that though, so yeah.
Yeah. And I can imagine what it was like. You mentioned that the mentor wasn't there. Obviously, you're definitely talking about the one and only.
Yes.
But
Right.
I find interesting is that he definitely could have shared some insight, because if anybody has been through it, as far as, on the top of his game, and then the next thing you know, he was like a media pariah, and it was like, nobody would give him any time of day, and the way he just kind of held himself together and just stayed the course. I mean, that type of information, that type of insight from somebody who's been there, done that, is like so important,
Yeah.
to be able to lean on that, because especially nowadays, and not just in the entertainment industry, but just life in general, it's just
Exactly.
like just it's not always going to be, excuse my language, it's not always going to be this shitty. Just stay the course.
For
Stay
real.
the course.
Yeah, stay the course.
We're so surrounded with people trying to tell us who we are.
That's
it's,
it.
It's really difficult to stay the course until you turn it off. So
very true, very true.
Yeah.
And I do have to say one thing he said to me, because I had talked to him at one point, and I was like, people are, some at the time weren't understanding. Like, okay, you come from this R&B world, I did, and then you flip, and then you do this rock soul stuff. And he was like, look, they're not going to get it, and it's okay. They will come and find you when it is time. If they don't understand you, quit waiting on people to get it, And it, I think he told me that like maybe 6 years ago, but that didn't click at the time. I was like, yeah, whatever. But now, I understand the conversation for sure.
Women in rock. I can tell you, my friend Joyce Kennedy will tell you.
Yes.
She said she's always been that. They've never. It's funny because in Europe, for those who don't know, Joyce Kennedy's lead singer of Mother's Finest. They've never really been massive here in the United States, but over in Europe, they sell out stadiums. I mean, we're talking about like Rolling Stones level, like stadiums, and it's just. We'll talk about her in a second, because
I love her. Yes,
yes, she's the best. So we talked about the fact that you were on the show in 2015, and before that, in 2013, you had actually come through with Elisa Fiorillo and
Shelby J.
And Shelby J.
Yes.
In Atlanta at Piedmont Park. You guys were under a tent, and I got to talk to Shelby and you guys, and I was there as press, and I actually shot a video of you performing Why Do You Lie? And what was funny is that they is that I thought, what's going to end up happening here is that Prince is going to slap my hand for this, for sure. Because Prince and I had this relationship where if I wanted him to talk to me, he absolutely would, boost me up on Facebook and Twitter, and I loved him for that. But if you made him mad, he would go dark for like a couple months. And I said, I'm probably going to get my hand slapped for this, but he actually surprised me, because not even a day, it was like the next day or 2 days later, he actually tweeted about this video and linked to it, and he actually liked the video, and I was just like, are you kidding? You just never know with this guy. Look at you. I would put on the video, the audio. If you guys want to see it, just go to youtube.com/Funkatopia and look up Liv in that channel, and you'll be able to see it. But yeah, I took that video, and Prince loved it. And I am so glad that you're back in the mix again, and that you're that you're performing and doing all this stuff, because let me tell you, I am just that was one of the most incredible performances that I had seen in a long time. I had never seen you perform up to that time in 2013. And I was just like, I'm not really completely clear who this woman is, but I'm following her to the ends of the earth.
Oh, bless you. Thank you.
It was unfreaking believable.
Thank you.
Again, but it's so good to actually see you back in the mix. You're getting a lot of traction too. Star Tribune put you on a list in an article called 6 Cool Things in Music, and you were featured on there with Casey Musgraves and Janet Jackson.
Crazy.
It was written by John Bream, who's a legend in journalism. I mean, how cool was it to be included in that mix?
Crazy, like crazy. It was really a blessing to see that, because we've been working so hard as a band, and again, I finally felt like I had a show down that I was really super, super proud of. Not so much of trying to go into to the studio and like really fix it and engineer it and stuff like that. Like, no, I wanted it raw, raw. And so, but I also took a chance on that. You know what I mean? So, you know, the show was at Cafe Wa in New York. The energy was crazy in the place. I know we're gonna talk about it later, but I just Hap, who was the club owner, was like, okay, we'll record tonight. So I listened to, I mean, the energy was crazy. The show was great. But when I heard the recording back, I was like, okay, wait, this is killing. And you know what? Put it out. You know, just put it out. Let's just put it out. Because my live shows, I feel like for me, are very different from album recordings. I don't know what it is. I don't know what
it's
what
live.
that is. Yeah, it is live.
That's a curse of funk bands. It is a curse of funk bands because I hear so many funk bands live and just like, oh my God, you guys are incredible. What an amazing sound. And you guys are just killing it. And then when it gets recorded,
it's not the same energy.
There's like, it's not the same energy. There's something missing. Yeah. This happens frequently with Lettuce. Lettuce is a great funk band. I mean, one of the best funk bands on the planet.
Yes.
But something about when they get into the studio, it's like squashed down. It's like doesn't have that same, you know, you can't. Live is live. It's live all the way live, baby. Yeah. It's just a sound. You know, we're talking about like that's not me, is it?
No, it's me. I'm sorry.
No, in 2015, when I interviewed you, Ryan Waters dropped in. And we're talking about the Live at Cafe Watt now. I don't know. We're probably talking about why they named their venue that.
But, yeah, right. Yeah.
What that is. But Ryan Waters dropped in. Now he is actually working with you on. He was on this recording live on this album, correct? You're still working with him and all that. So that's. I mean, that's really, really cool that you guys are still working. But so let's go ahead and talk about it.
Yeah.
Tell me about this amazing Live at Cafe Wa album. It's unavailable. It's already available on Amazon and Spotify. And if you guys have not heard it, it's fantastic. And it's rocky too.
Yeah.
It's very different. Yeah. It's definitely rock. So tell me a little bit about the inspiration, about how you were setting up the set list. Were there songs that were cut out of this show? I imagine there probably was.
Yeah.
So tell me a little bit about the continuity of the album and why you chose the songs that you did, and a little bit about the history of this album.
We had just came off of doing a Spain run at the Canary Islands, and we were already going off of amazing energy already. And Cafe Wa was the last show coming back into the States that we were doing. So I told the guys I was already feeling it. If you already know me, I kind of have my little whiskey. The energy in the room was already fired up. And I said, you know what? We are not doing any slow songs tonight. Like, I really don't want to do like anything slow.
Right.
And, I kind of, for me, I kind of sort of like to feel the room and read the room a little bit. And it was just the energy of the people in that place. And so I looked at the set list and I was like, well, we kind of did, I think I did Soul Lifted, I think, and maybe a couple of other slower songs. But the energy, I wanted it to be rock soul vibe. It just called for that. It called for, as many of us, we've been dealing with this whole COVID shit. And I could just tell people were in their seats feeling like, okay, we need the energy. We just need the vibe. And it just, the love that I got off the place. We started off with More Things, which is the first song. And I knew right off the bat, I was like, okay, you could probably hear me saying that on the record. Like, okay, I already know what kind of night this is going to be. This is song one. Strap, hold on. You know what I mean? Get what you need to get, because it's going to be crazy. And and some songs, they were left off of the record. They were cool, but I think these were definitely songs I wanted to choose that I felt like the direction that I'm going. I still like to do the R&B stuff and the slow stuff, but at the same time, I like to just play to the energy. And that night, I'm glad I put it out, because I just feel like, I don't know, it's just motivation to what's next, honestly. Something else, I mean, if I put something else out live, which I'm thinking about doing, a Cafe Wa Part 2, because we are playing there again.
Yep, March 8th.
March 8th, that's right.
Right.
The energy might be a little bit different. It might not be so much rock soul. It might be just whatever it calls for, so but that night it definitely called for that. It definitely called for all of that.
So we know that Ryan Waters is playing. Who else was playing the band?
Yeah,
You actually did a call out on the album.
Yeah. So Ryan Waters on guitar, of course.
Mhm.
Marlon Patton on drums. Jay Mack, Justin McKinney on bass. Daniel Porter on keys, and Red on vocals. And a lot of people possibly know Red from D'Angelo Vanguard too. He sings with D'Angelo and them too. So it's a crazy band, crazy unit. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Thank you.
It's well, so we can again we're talking a little bit about the tracks. I mean, as mentioned, you lean more towards the rock vibe this time, which really suits your vocals in that mother's finest type of way.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you.
You just killed it, obviously. More Things, what is the opening track on this, which is Ryan Waters, who's played with you for a long time. A lot of people also know him. He used to actively play with Sade as well.
Yeah, still does.
And he still does. I wasn't aware of that. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So More Things is actually a track that's a few years old. It's been around since about 2018.
Uh-huh.
And then the next song is Crash. I don't think that I had heard that song previously. Is that one of the newer songs of yours?
Yes. Uh-huh. Yep.
When did that come out?
Probably, I want to say 2018. Yep, about 2018. Okay. A lot of the stuff I tend to want to play it live before I record it, just so I could get it right.
Yeah, it's a fantastic track. It definitely follows the vibe of More Things. Then you go into Don't Say Much, which is a track from The Unexpected.
Mm-hmm.
And then you do The Unexpected, which is a title track of Unexpected.
Yeah.
But that track, I always meant to ask you about this, but I hadn't talked to you since Plectrum Electrum came out. Yes. What did you originally think when they repurposed Unexpected to the song Wow on Plectrum Electrum?
Okay.
What were your initial thoughts, and where was it? You were like, wait, hold on, this is my track.
So I was writing with my manager at the time, Yvonne, and I had said to her, I was like, what am I going to call this album? I said, for some reason, I just want to call it The Unexpected, because I know people are going to know this shit is coming from left field for me.
Right.
So then random, but not, Prince calls me and was like, so do you have a title for your, it's really weird. Do you have a title for your album? I was like, yeah, I think I'm going to call it The Unexpected. And he was like, I like that. He was like, let me write something. And I was like, okay, yeah. So he was like, give me a day, of course. And this is around when we were at Paisley around the time, I think. And then Josh calls me, and literally the next day, and was on the phone. He was like, I think that's what he said. He was like, he didn't man a few words. He was like, Liv, you need to listen. Put the phone up to the speakers, and it's Third Eye Girl playing Wow, right? I lost it. You can call it The Unexpected, or you could call it. And I was just like, wait, I'm like losing it. So I get on the phone and I go, in my mind, honestly, I'm like calculating, like, what am I going to do with this? Is crazy. Like, I can't redo this song. Like, there's no way. And I told him that. I was like, Prince, I said, this is a really amazing track. Like, I don't think we can. He said, yeah, you're right. And I go, okay, so let me just come back with my version. Let the band and I just like answer back to that. And he was like, all right, bet. And so, and then he heard our version. It's so funny because it was like almost this beautiful like play between who's going to try to do what version, or who is going to outdo whose version. And he loved it. And I just, it was so dope to me. I was so excited. And that's when I think around the time, when he put it out on Third Eye Girl, Plectrum Electrum, and then Unexpected, I was tripping off that. but he loved the version, because in my mind I was thinking like, how would Tina, that's what I thought initially right off the bat, like how would Tina Turner like flip this? So yeah. He was like, yeah, you can't play the song like us. So you go ahead and do your version.
I always say, I'll give it a shot if it's a challenge.
Exactly. Tyrone Hendricks, Tyrone Ryan, and Chris Turner, they did an amazing job. I mean, we were in Portland when we did it, and it was just, it just came together. It was dope. It was really dope.
That's awesome. So The Unexpected's on this album, and then follow that with Embrace Me, which that's a track from your album from 15 years ago.
Yeah.
I mean, that was like, how did you, was that song really just stand out to you, or did you kind of just like look at that album and go, I need to play something off of this? Or is that just a song that just stuck with you over the years? I mean, I was just curious why you picked that particular track off of that album. That album is killer, by the way.
Thank you.
Why, was there a specific reason why you decided to pull Embrace Me out of the mix?
Not really. It's kind of all of those things that you just mentioned. I think it's one of those groove things on the record. Because that album is so niche in my mind.
Yeah. Very soul kind of, yeah.
It's very, very beginning Liv, and I love it. And I get very particular with people who play that record, that first album, because that's like for real my baby. So Embrace Me was more, it's something I feel comfortable playing with everybody else. And I don't know, I love it. It's got that bop to it though. And I think it's easy for everybody to sing it. So it's also very cool to see everybody being like, ba, ba, da. It's just one of those. Yeah, it's one of those. Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah, it's a great track.
Really is.
Then the next song on the album, we're talking about, for those of you just joining us, obviously we are joined by the amazing Liv Warfield, who has got a brand new album called Live at Cafe Wa. And we are kind of going over the tracks. We got like 4 more tracks here to talk about just kind of briefly, because I wanted to go over some of the thought processes that were going on.
Sure.
Mantra is the next song. And now you put out this single a couple of years ago. And during this album, and we're going to get just deep just for a second.
Sure.
On the live album, you started this song by telling people in the audience repeatedly, walk in your truth, walk in your light. And you said that like repeatedly, walk in your truth, walk in your light. Can you kind of expand on that?
Yeah. Is that your personal mantra?
Yeah.
Good question.
It is, because I know for me how far I've come to get to this point, because I don't put a lot of my trials and tribulations on blast that often. It's just that I know what it's taken me to get to this point. I felt like I've had it and I lost it many times. And so with Mantra, I just was like, okay, Liv, this song has got to be something where you telling people to walk that path, because at the end of the day, the sun is still gonna rise. Whether you like it or not, it's going to. So you just have to learn to put one foot in front of the other, brother, sis. You have to. It's going to be this path today or this path tomorrow, or whatever you choose. But it's going to be like this. But you just gotta stay focused. So you have to walk in your light, whatever that is, because everybody's story is individually theirs. And so for me, I had to keep saying that for myself. Okay, Liv, you got to walk in it. Everything that has been good is going to be good, and everything that's bad, it's okay. Walk through it. You're good. And I think it just, every time I sing it, and then also it was coming off, that song was definitely coming off of The Energy and When Prince Passed. I was like, wait a minute. Right. Okay. Like I was saying earlier, like, it's not like I can get on the phone and call or be like, what do you think of this? What do you think of that? Or what, and like replaying all of the things that from student, teacher, master, teacher, I have to just kind of have a photographic memory in my mind of what you said, before. So it's your
Right.
path, girl. you know, your parents, if some people have parents are here or not here, you just kind of got to keep going. You got to keep pushing.
Yeah, and the other thing too, you did mention Prince because the next song on the album is a cover of When I Lay My Hands on You.
Yeah.
Interesting choice of songs.
Yeah.
And the vocal approach on this was very different.
Yeah.
The way that you kind of approach this song. So tell me a little bit about, how you, I guess, why you decided that particular song was going to be out of his entire collection. His library of songs. What really spoke to you about that song?
When I've heard it tons of times, but it was something about watching him at Montreux.
Oh yeah,
that blew my mind.
That
Mm-hmm.
And
he opened Montreux with that, didn't he? Didn't he opened Montreux with that on one of the nights?
Yeah, he did with John Blackwell, and I always wanted it to feel. I wanted it to feel dramatic, and Red was just an incredible vocalist. I wanted us to duel this vocal. I wanted it to be so dramatic that you feel it. I just wanted the intensity to be there. I wanted it to be long and drawn out and airy as much as possible.
Yeah,
so that was the approach that I wanted. Take your time with it, Ryan. Don't rush. Nobody rush. Let's just make it theatrical as much as possible.
Right.
Feel every word, feel every lyric, because I'm a lyric person. I want you to feel every bit of it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let it breathe, right?
Let it breathe. Yeah.
That's so important. So important. Well, it's a great, I like the added guitar picking that Ryan was doing on it. It was just very, very different. It's so, if you guys want to hear a great cover of that song, When I Lay My Hands on You, it's on Liv's new album. Yes. And then of course you have Blackbird Part 1 and Blackbird Part 2 that actually close out the album. So talk about those tracks.
We cannot not have a show without playing Blackbird, okay?
You're right. Yeah, they can't.
All right.
Can't.
I promise you, I probably have tried to run from it and to be like, no, we're not playing that tonight. And then we have to play it. It's just one of those songs Ryan kills. He wrote it and just, it's a joy to play. It is amazing to play. And I love where it goes. It's never the same every time we play it, which is why I enjoy it so much, because it just morphs into something else. So And I love that about the guys and musicians. I like that they like to just go and flow with the energy sometimes, having that, what should I say? Playing parts is amazing. I love for them to play parts, but when they can let go, please.
Yeah. Absolutely. Just what I think I appreciate most about the album, because this wasn't recorded that long ago.
Right.
No. When was it recorded? January, was it?
Yeah. No. July 28th. We did
July 28th. Okay. Mm-hmm. There wasn't a whole bunch of production work or anything that was done on this. I just kind of feel like it was so raw and so real and just had a really, really great live vibe to it. And it just had that rock, just the rock edge that, you deliver rock vocals better than the greats that have come before you, from Tina to Joyce. It's just, it is what it is. It's just a killer. So yeah, it's a fantastic album. You guys can check it out. Are the physical copies out of this album yet?
Not yet.
Okay.
I'm trying to get everybody to want physical copies.
Well, I love the fact that even though this album just screams, "Come see me," and that
oh yeah.
You know what I'm saying? That's the point. It screams, "Come see me." That's it.
Yeah.
So anyone who doesn't will be like, "Oh, I heard the album. I can't believe I missed it. When is she back in town?"
Blessings. Thank you.
Right. Exactly. Perfect segue, because you've got a European tour that's coming up to support this album. But before you do that, on March 8th, at Cafe Wa again,
Yeah.
you're going to be in New York. So for those in the States, she's coming to where you are in New York on March 8th.
Mm-hmm.
So why did you decide to come back to that? And now I know you were talking about a possibility of a part 2, but was that the purpose or the reasoning for that second visit to this venue?
No, I wanted to play before we went overseas. I wanted to lock in unity with the guys before we head overseas, and then also snag some of that Cafe Law energy before we leave. Because that place is so, it was really incredible. Like the energy in the room is amazing. So I just want to go back there and just feel that one more time. And then, we're also kind of using the night to celebrate the release of Cafe Wa for the live album. So it's also kind of maybe just sending us off with some really good energy in Europe, because I'm excited, but I'm nervous too, but I'm excited at the same time.
But you're doing that, and then you're going on this European tour. So for those folks in Europe,
yes,
you guys, a lot of dates coming up. Stockholm. Actually, I think you actually have you do. Look
awesome.
at you. Look at you all. Look at you already. Look at you already. Stockholm on March 11th, Oslo March 12th, Zurich March 14th, Paris March 17th. That should be awesome. Birkenhead March 18th, London March 19th. And so Europe is definitely getting. Are you planning? Are you just seeing how this European tour goes before you decide whether or not any more gigs in the States are going to happen?
No, I'm planning. I really want to do some more shows in the States. I do have a show in my hometown of Peoria, Illinois, April 23rd. But I definitely want to book some more shows in the States. It's funny because I really haven't played. I play a lot in the East Coast, but ATL, I know. I know. I want to so bad. Yes, listen.
Just let us know. We'll pull some strings and
pull some strings.
Oh man, we can definitely find you a venue here for sure.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I just want to play in the States a little bit more, which I haven't had a chance to do a lot of. But yeah, so I hopefully when we come back.
Yeah. So when you're doing these European tours, I mean, you've done the European tours before. Are you received really well over there as a solo act? I mean, how has your experience been over there as far as reception is concerned?
Yes, I absolutely love it.
They're just so much more better music fans than we are here. Not that we aren't great music fans. We are.
Absolutely.
It's just that they embrace it wholeheartedly, and they just go.
Yeah.
Wholeheartedly. And I appreciate that. I do. Yeah. And I really appreciate the support. I do. Like, hands down, I really appreciate it. Because honestly, a lot of the the folks from Paris and London and stuff like that, they just constantly have kept me lifted up. Really lifted up. So yeah. And then because I'm also doing the June Moon, I also do a June Moon project, which I'm a part of. It's definitely a different vibe, but it's such a dope record. Like, it's such a dope record. It's a whole nother side of me, but it's a great record.
Now, are you on that entire? I thought you were just on one particular track. Are you on that whole album?
The whole album.
Now, June Moon is from Paris, right?
Paris, yes.
Okay.
So when is that? When's that coming out?
It's already out. It came out in September.
Oh my God.
And I think, I think that's probably the confusion too. A lot of people think it's probably just like one song. But it's the whole album. It's really, really quite incredible. Wow. It's an incredible project. It's very different. Yeah.
Is it more jazz, or I haven't heard it yet? So
I don't really know it's more like alternative R&B. Man, it's really hard to describe, to be honest with you. It's very cool. It's very, very cool. It's not really, I wouldn't say it was like, it sounds R&B. It has its own DNA. It's really quite incredible.
Check it out. Well, you
Yeah,
definitely
please.
piqued my interest for sure.
Well, there's
Carolyn,
a song coming out tomorrow called Lover that I wrote on it. And I'm sure people will understand the dedication. But that comes out tomorrow. The live version of it tomorrow, actually.
I'm definitely gonna check that
So
out.
Yeah.
is it out in vinyl?
Yeah, it's out in
I ask it that way because I really appreciate the fact that you're putting things out in mantra on your website.
Yes.
There's a vinyl, and so many people are holding back. Well, I'm waiting until, and if people want it, they can get it. But you're just like, put it out in vinyl. I'm thinking because I collect vinyl.
Oh, do you?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
I'm
Same.
really excited that
Yeah,
you're
same.
Yeah, the vinyl is really nice. It can kind of get expensive, as we know.
Yeah.
But I do like vinyl. So but June Moon is on vinyl too. And I'm working on getting the Live at Cafe Wa on vinyl.
awesome.
That'd be great. Yeah. I tell you would be a fantastic, and I don't know if she's released it on vinyl yet, is Donna Grant's album.
Woo!
That album.
That album is insane.
Okay, for those of you guys who and I don't know why I'm drawing a blank on the title of that album now. For those of you who loved the bootlegs that you guys heard on the Third Eye TV stuff, the menstrual cycle, all those tracks, all those musical tracks, you have to get Donna Grant's album because it literally is like almost a continuation of that instrumentally. It's just it's that Third Eye Girl instrumental stuff, but it's just her at the core, and it's, oh man, it's just fantastic. Some albums were made for vinyl. That album was made for vinyl.
Right.
Cafe Watt album you just did be fantastic on vinyl. The only thing annoying about vinyl is having to go over and flip the album over in the middle. It's just like, yes, thank you, Arlene. Diamonds and Dynamite. Yes, you are correct. That album, Donna Grant's Diamonds and Dynamite, is just,
and live, and seeing Donna live.
Yes, I mean I've seen video clips, but I have not been in her presence to see her play live. No,
it's chilling. It's
I bet
so incredible. It's just intense.
Yeah. Again, if you guys, I'm not to cross promote, but you guys are friends. They're fine.
Yes.
But Diamonds and Dynamite. If you love that Third Eye Girl instrumental stuff, all that stuff that came out on the Third Eye TV stuff, you got to get that album because it's just like that. And it's phenomenal.
Yes.
So who else besides June Moon? Because you seem to be, every now and then I'll hear little quips about you sat in with this person. Is there any other side projects that you had going on that we don't know about that maybe you sat in?
I did it's called Toyland. I did a little thing with Ray Angry, Black Thought, Questlove,
wow, really? So you get a little the roots action in there.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy. It's really intense. It's a pretty amazing song.
And what album is it on?
Ray Angry. Yep. And Black Thought is on it, and Questlove and Pino Palladino. It's pretty insane. I really I was really trying to dive in, and a lot of these musicians, a lot of good friends of mine really kept my head above water by keeping me in projects and constantly writing and creating, so I'm thankful for them for just keeping me busy, and then I was doing theater for the past 6 months in Chicago, playing Cleopatra. So I've just kind of been like, just stay busy, Liv. Stay busy, girl.
Yeah, we'll have to have you on again to talk about the Cleopatra stuff.
Yeah. It's insane. I mean, I joined the circus, really. And it's no
okay, hold on, time out. We gotta get the story now.
No, I did. Honestly.
Okay. What did you do in it?
Teatro Zanzani. So I sang, and I was it's kind of like playing Madame Zanzani, but it's song and theater, and there's contortionists, there's jugglers, it's the sickest thing in like ever. It's in a over 100-year-old circus tent inside a hotel, Cambria Hotel in Chicago, on the 14th floor. It's the most amazing thing ever. It's like the sickest show.
Is there video of this?
Yes, there's video.
Okay, we got.
And so I have to say, like, I've been training for aerial. I've been training so I can kind of do it. Hopefully next time I'm there.
A lot of aerial people are doing aerial right now until this until the pandemic passes or whatever. Are you experiencing that with anybody?
It's really great. It's totally changed me. Like,
yeah, my daughter loves aerial. She started doing
good.
aerial, but we can't find any place that does it close to here. So it's like a 45-minute drive one way. It's like I'm glad that you love it, but God dang. It's like,
but I'm telling you, it's so worth it. And people have to see the show. It's called Teatro Zinzani. It's comedy, it's chaos, it's dinner. There's like a 3-course dinner. Like,
wow.
Dude, I'm gonna invite you to Chicago, both of you. Anytime you come into the show.
You just tell us we're there.
Yes.
Absolutely. Kiaria wants to know, would you ever consider playing Tina Turner on Broadway?
Oh wow.
I mean,
whoa boy.
I would love to do Broadway, like 100%. I don't know. I don't even know if I could even handle playing Tina.
She's a monster.
She's a
beast.
She's a beast, and I would love to do Broadway. What I hope that happens. I really do hope that happens. I hope that's in my card somewhere.
Well, you play, and correct me if not correct me. I know this is a fact. You played the Apollo, sold out. Now this wasn't the main stage. Was like a so okay, but the fact that you were in the Apollo and
yes,
I mean, tell me about that experience, because I mean, you think about the legends that have walked through those halls.
Yeah,
tell me about what it's like playing the Apollo.
Oh. The energy in that place, you definitely can feel it when you walk through the doors. It's really incredible. Like everybody there at the Apollo is like, honestly, it's like family environment, and they're super supportive. Just walking there and like touching the stump and stuff like that. It's just really crazy. And just to know that, you know, the amateur and like James Brown, and just to know the history of people who have stepped in this building, Billie Holiday, just Ella Fitzgerald. I mean, clearly the list goes on, but it's just Phyllis Hyman. It's crazy. Just, and Apollo has always been very welcome. You know, their energy there is always
to some folks. It can be a brutal. No, I'm not saying I don't have any personal.
I know what you mean. Yeah. But here's the thing, though. That's why,
as long as there's no Sandman on the side stage, you're good.
I honestly act like that's why I love New York, though, too. At the same time, like I just really love their honesty.
Oh yeah.
And just how they feel. Really, I mean, there's no. I mean,
no holding back. Yeah.
No. Exactly.
You really want to know?
Exactly. Trust me. I think the first time I played there, I was like, oh my God, like, please, you guys, please, somebody just don't boo me. I really don't want this. I don't want this feeling. Like, I cannot take it if that's the case, you know? Because I mean, that's all I saw when growing up, amateur night, of course.
Right. Oh yeah. It's like, yeah, every single time. You were just like, you knew when the Sandman was going to come out too. Just like, oh, the second that they opened their mouth, they were like, oh, he's coming.
Yeah. He's coming.
He's coming.
Do I hear sirens?
He got more polite over the years and just kind of lightly would like guide them off the stage. But back in the day, I mean, it was like brutal. It was just like. But somebody was spreading the rumor that you were hurt at the Apollo show that you did. I heard somebody saying that, but I guess you dispelled it. Tell me about where that rumor even started, or do you even know?
It was on Twitter. Somebody said something about Twitter, and I had posted a picture of me singing, falling to my knees, and it was just this picture. It looks like I was probably in pain. So I said, "No, honey, this is just me feeling this note." So
just feel it. Yeah.
I thought it was really
let it all hang out.
Liv hurt herself, and I'm like, okay,
no, she didn't. No, yeah. So, but you know, your stage show has changed a lot over the years. I mean, you know, even when I saw you back in 2013, that first time, it was just the energy and the just moving back and forth and the talking and really engaging the audience. I mean, it was just so much energy and verve. But again, your show has definitely changed over the years, and especially as you started working more and more with Prince. What are some of the things that you learned about your performances after working with him for so long that you probably still carry with you to this day? Is there something specific that you can remember that guidance he gave you about your onstage persona, or how you carry yourself, or how you perform, or where you stand? Is there some things that like click in your mind every single time you step foot on the stage?
No, honestly, I think I just try to tap in as much as I can. Like,
and you always do.
Yeah.
I try to tap in. It's just, you know, maybe I worry about what I'm going to wear, or I'm trying to get better with different musicians now at this point, because it's kind of a different crew of, as we keep doing these shows, what story do I want to tell, really?
Yeah.
Because emotionally it's going to be what it's going to be. But at the same time, there's also a story involved too. And I want people to be able to feel those emotions and the storytelling and the lyrics and all of those things. Because nothing, believe me, nothing is put on. Everything is very tapped in. All of us are. We have a great time too. We have a wonderful time. Sometimes we are going over an hour 30 and they're like, stop, you know, and it's just, and I love that. I love that. So anytime that we can kind of take ourselves to a place, and I think that's what I learned from Prince for the most part, is being disciplined enough to know the music and people playing their parts, but being open and available enough to be tapped in musically, you know, to open your ears up to what people are playing and what people are doing. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And as a performer myself, I mean, I know when that happens, because I did the lead vocalist role for a long time, and something happens where once you step on the stage, it's like a switch goes off, and it's like you just pour yourself into it. But one of the things that, you know, you said, which was really, really important to that performance, is knowing that everybody else that's on that stage has got their parts down. You don't have to worry about whether or not they're going to go into the solo in the right time, or they're going to, you know, having that trust and not, you know, worrying about what's going on behind you plays a really important part in performances, for sure. And it's always great that, you know, you've been playing with some of these, and you've been playing with Ryan for a really long time. You know, we talked about comparing you to a lot of different people. You know, and I've seen everything online from, you know, Tina Turner to Aretha to everything else. But, you know, somebody that you remind me of a lot, not from the raunchiness side of perspective, but from the energy and the grit, would be Betty Davis.
Oh, wow.
Who passed away last Wednesday. We're talking a little bit about her, and I actually saw that you mentioned her on your timeline recently. When was I know that Prince used to, who did I read an interview about that Prince played, I think he said it to Andy Allo, which was like, which really weird, because Andy and Betty are like so far apart. But he would play Betty Davis, and he would say, "That's what I'm going for right there. That's the energy. That's where you're in it." When was the first time you ever heard Betty Davis? Like, did you hear when you were young, or was it something you were introduced to a lot later?
A lot later. I think when I want to say on my own, though, when I think this is maybe in 2010, 2011, when I was first introduced to Mother's Finest, and then I started to dig deeper, like, okay, rock, soul vocalist, and then it was like Betty Davis. And then I was kind of like, because I was a big huge Pointer Sisters fan, and I ended up finding out that you know, a lot of them did background vocals for Betty Davis. And I just started digging even more into Betty Davis. And I was like, oh God, like They Say I'm Different, anti-love song. Like, I was like, what is going on? It blew my mind because I love bass and guitar. And I love it, especially when they do it rhythmically. It's just something about that duality that drives me insane. Because I just was like, yeah, all these grooves are crazy. She's gritty. She's not worried about necessarily singing pretty, but just singing.
Yeah.
You know?
Just raw. Very, very raw. She didn't do a lot of takes in the studio. And, you know, I know this has never been documented anywhere, but if anybody had ever heard the song Dedicated to the Press, at the end of that song, that is Prince's call. That is his, I mean, she did it way before Prince ever did it. And it like literally she was doing, I can't do it right now.
Yeah.
She was doing it like 3 years before Prince's first album ever came out. And she did it like multiple times on the end of that song, Dedicated to the Press. And it's just, man. Anyways, I always think about just that raw and grittiness, because that's always the one thing I get from your performances is just how raw that you are. Because you kind of just get into it and you just pour yourself into the music, very much like Betty Davis did, very much like Tina Turner did. You know, it's just like when she felt it, you just gotta, you know, I mean, you've heard people compare you to Aretha and Chaka Khan and everything else, but who, you know, you mentioned the Pointer Sisters, but who else were your actual singing inspirations?
In the beginning, Donny Hathaway,
of course, yeah,
Etta James. When I really started to be like, okay, Liv, you got a little vocal, and then Etta James, and then Sade, huge. Sade was huge, very probably inspirational for my first album, and then and of course Whitney was my first probably introduction, and actually Whitney was my first, and then Nat King Cole was my second, like introduction to like, this is what I want to do. Man,
I mean, I think about how much influences, I wonder just how many of these artists have had on you that just subliminally you just kind of absorbed, because you just, there's so much of all of them that are in your performance. It's just, you know, but I do want to speak about, Jeff, you were going to say something. I'm sorry.
No, I'm sorry. I was just thinking about it. And with all those people, when you're coming up with something or when you're feeling something, do you ever think to yourself that there's a specific one of those artists that you're invoking, like that you're pulling from in a song when you're performing?
Yeah, definitely over the past, for me, I just feel like, I guess I'm invoking it, but like Tina. Yeah. For sure. Tina and Joyce Kennedy. Like for me, those two really changed me. Really changed me.
Nice. We're laughing because on the notes I have, the very next bullet is Joyce Kennedy. This is really funny. That's the reason why we both smiled, because it's like, because I've always thought that out of all the artists that I can think of, while the grit and the energy that I always think of Betty, as far as delivery is concerned, Joyce Kennedy from Mother's Finest, who I have been listening to since the 70s.
Okay.
I was born in 68, so I'm a child of the 70s. Jeff Page won't let me say his age. But anyways, I was born in 68, so I was a child of the 70s. So I was turned on to Mother's Finest very early up in Detroit.
Okay.
And loved her to death. I actually spent time interviewing her a couple of times, and the first time of which was literally like 8 years ago,
Mhm.
and it was really kind of unexpected because what was funny about it was I was called in to interview her at the show. I was just supposed to be there taking pictures of press, and I thought that I was just going to go in here and it was be real quick, and it was going to be 5 minutes.
Yeah.
And it was going to be a bunch of people around, and so I was only going to be a couple questions in, and that's not what happened at all. They bring me into this room. And I'm like sitting there with Joyce and her husband in this room, in this small room, and I'm just like I'm like totally just blown away because I'm like I am sitting here with and literally this is actually an edited video, but it was like an hour and a half interview with her in this small room with her and her husband. And they are just unloading on me, and I'm just like, this is the most amazing thing that I mean, literally, I may look like I'm holding it together, but I'm losing my shit right here.
Yeah,
because I'm like standing with friggin', it's unreal. And so what I find cool is that you actually had an opportunity to meet with her as well.
Yes.
And talk with her just recently.
Yes.
On your Whiskey Wednesdays.
Yes.
So first, I want you to tell people about your Whiskey Wednesdays. Second, is there a Whiskey Wednesday that's happening tomorrow? What's happening on it? But more so than anything, what was it like to interview Joyce on the Whiskey Wednesday?
Okay, so I didn't get a chance to do it because we had to postpone it.
I haven't seen it. I was trying to find it. I was like,
because me, I really want this interview to happen.
Oh my gosh, I can call her.
Like, I really want this to go down with her and I.
Oh my gosh,
because there's so many things. I just feel connected to her in some ways, And yes, in Whiskey Wednesday. So I just try to talk to. It doesn't have to be artists. It could be anybody in the arts or anything like that. Just more so having a conversation. Like if you were to walk into a bar and you saw Deion Cole or Jamie Foxx and having a whiskey, what would you say? That's kind of like one of those things. Like it's just kind of that vibe, that kind of energy. Like, hey, for me, I love my whiskey. And anytime I'm with my friends, I just let's just have like real conversation, not like anything, not like an interview, but just kind of like what's on your mind, whatever that is. So
right, we got to do one of those.
Yeah, please.
Hello.
Yeah. What's your favorite whiskey?
Uncle Nearest right now. I like Jameson, but I love Uncle Nearest. I really love Uncle Nearest.
I don't know that I've tried it. I'm gonna have to try it.
It's an amazing brand,
But I will reach out to Joyce on your behalf, and I will say, please connect with Liv. Absolutely, because she's and actually, our relationship continued for a little bit because my daughter started being friends with this drummer, and she told me who it was that she went to high school with him. Come to find out, it was Joyce's son.
What?
I was just like, what is happening here?
What is
happening? So my daughter and Joyce's son were hanging out, and we'll just leave that story there.
Okay.
But it was just really bizarre that she went. They live somewhere around here. I have not been to the house, but I will reach out on your behalf because we got. I want to, because you two are the same people, just obviously born in different eras, but you're the same, exactly the freaking same.
Bless
Anyways, what was happening here? Did you say that the audio was loud on that video?
Yeah, in the video, the audio was a bit loud. Yeah,
I didn't even hear it in here at all.
Interesting.
Okay. Liv, you heard it too? It was really loud?
Just a little.
Oh, okay. All right. We'll have to fix it in post. But anyways, so you don't have anything going on tomorrow?
No,
okay.
Tomorrow.
Right.
No.
All right. So we're going to close this out. But what I want to do is we started a series called Funk the Funk. That we've done a couple episodes of it First episode was phenomenal because we had like a bunch of different artists on. We had, Tony M, and we had Morris Hayes,
Okay.
and we had all these artists on. There was a bunch of people. We had Garrett Scheider from Parliament Funkadelic.
Okay.
Everybody came on the show to talk about depression.
Okay.
Right? And it was something that we just felt like it needed to be done because right now, the world is just so heavy right now. I mean, I'm not saying that in the 70s, hey man, that's heavy hippie way.
Yeah.
Even though I was a child of that era, being born in 68,
Mm-hmm.
Jeff Page. But the world is just thick with stress and people are on edge everywhere. What's some good advice that you have for people that are just kind of feeling like they're on the edge or capped out? I mean, I know you kind of touched on it a little bit, but what are some of the things that you would say to just kind of keep yourself motivated and positive that you might be able to pass on to somebody that's kind of feeling in some kind of way right now?
Yeah.
Okay. People need to go outside. I know this is crazy, but this is kind of like, I've done this in the past. Ground yourself, meaning get yourself connected back to the source, the universal source, whatever you call that, God, Yahweh, whatever. Take your shoes off, go to the ground, and connect your feet to the ground from the top of your head to the bottom of your feet. And when you do that and you center yourself, and whatever it is, whether you call out to the sky, because I know one thing that I know when my mother did when I was born is she raised me to the sky. Now, when you reach out to the source, people just have to reach out to the source and ask for what you want. It may not come when you want it on the first time, whatever the case may be, but when you constantly give gratitude and thanks to the source, the universal source, it will come. Eventually, it will be there. Some people just need a reset. It's called just reset yourself, because all this chaos that we have to deal with is social media. Social media has just added an extra thing on what we do from day-to-day living. So for me, and surround yourself around people who get it. Surround yourself around people who will constantly encourage you. Constantly. Like, mold yourself, create your circle.
Right.
Tribe will be there. Your tribe will be there for you and they will surround you. You know what I mean? Some people go out looking for it. Listen, you go out and you ask for the source, it's right there. Your neighbor. That's what's so crazy. Your neighbor. And people, that's the thing, is people don't even want to, we don't talk to each other anymore.
We don't. Yeah.
We don't. And the mask thing is excuse. Right. You could still see pride in people's eyes. You could still see it in people's eyes. Windows of the soul, you could still see it. Yeah. So absolutely.
Do you have a specific person? I mean, there are many people that you can reach out to, but do you have that one specific that's your rock when you need a boost, when you know you're feeling it? Because sometimes it's difficult to just on your own. You have that one.
I have a lot of really good friends, meaning 3. When I say a lot, I have 3 people that I know. And then that's the thing. We can leave off for 10 years and not call each other. We can leave off for 5 or 3 months. But we know that if one calls, even if it's through a text or whatever the case may be, I know that that person is going to be there. And even if that's the thing, is sometimes even if you don't have that person, somewhere, brothers and sisters, you have to tap into that side and first give thanks because you are still here and you are still breathing. You're still here. You know, I have Armstrong, my pup. He's energy. If my husband's not there, he's energy. To me, I feel like it's all energy. It's energy, it's frequency. And when you put it out, you just have to allow yourself to be open. You know, it took me a long time to learn that. I was a hothead. It doesn't seem like it, but I had a real harsh attitude when when things necessarily weren't going my way. Like depression was heavy on me. I got through some serious stuff in my life. Mental health for sure for me. That's a big thing for me because I used to fall into depression quick, very quick. And I had to learn how to really center myself, even if I didn't have my husband to call, my parents to call, none of that. I had to really start learning to love myself. I was beating myself up constantly. I was criticizing myself, comparing myself. The confidence was like not there. But I just had to learn to start spending time with myself and start loving myself, spending time with myself. You know, it's not an easy thing to do. It's not.
Yeah, it's tough to kind of sit down and say, what do I like about myself? What do I, you know, but I think that's kind of what a lot of people are going through too, is that they sit down and they go, man, I just don't, there's nothing that I like about myself. It's like, how do you even direct a person like that? It's just like, okay, there's got to be something, or if you can't find something that you like about yourself, ask your friends. They will tell you what there is to like about yourself. You can't, because if you're in a negative headspace, it's just, it can really tear you down and it can start having a really big effect on you. I know one of the big things that works is meditation.
That's it.
And focus. And you do that quite a bit from what I understand. I've seen you, some of your posts kind of focus on that. Tell me about your process. This is kind of like a little two-part question that will kind of close things out here, but tell me about your process, about how you get in that zone as far as focus and meditation. What do you do to get in your zone? And, are the specific things you have to turn off? Obviously things like TV and other things like that need to be turned off. Phones need to be turned off. But what's the process that you get into to kind of put yourself in that state of mind?
Well, I had to start creating a routine for myself throughout the day. Like waking up in the morning and like, I'm so serious, you all, like creating a routine, whether it's going downstairs, boiling that coffee or tea, and just even looking out the window outside, closing my eyes and being like, all right, this is step one of the day. It was just as simple as that. Nothing crazy, but I really, really, really had to create that routine so that just started to become a part of my life. Because that's when things started to turn around. Then I would add stretching. My best friend would tell me, she'd be like, girl, I'm telling you, you always be complaining about your shoulders and your body. Because I'm telling you, I was walking around so tight. I was walking around, my shoulders were so tight. I felt the weight of everything. And then after that, I started stretching. Right. And it's so easy to talk about this stuff. And it also sounds kind of like redundant because I know people hear it all the time. Like, oh my God, you got to stretch and blah, blah, blah. But it's true. Even if it's that, even if it's that, you've woken up all the senses in your body, and that had to become routine. Like even my husband, like, child, he wakes up in the morning. When I saw him doing that, he sit at the corner of the bed, just chilling with his eyes closed. And I was like, what's going on? You okay? He was like, like I'm having my moment. And I respected that. I got that because that's his routine to start him off in the day. So I think people just need to develop whatever that routine is to just kind of wake up the senses here. There. Ground yourself and create the routine and love on yourself. Little things, love on yourself. Not go buy the Birkin bag. If you got the money, child, go get it. I'm not mad. But love on yourself.
Right.
Yeah, it's important.
Meaning foods. Meaning every once in a while, like I had to go buy, a little pH core water. Love on yourself. It's the little things, really. It's the little things.
Yeah.
I'm not saying go vegan or anything. I mean, shout out to the ones that are.
Right.
It's the little things.
I wish I could do it, but
I wish I could too, but I can't.
I did 45 days.
You said what?
I did a 45-day.
Oh, did you get angry?
Actually, I didn't. I
You
did,
didn't?
but I'm angry now.
I caught such the harshest attitude, and I said I can't do it, but I can incorporate more of the living things into my body.
Mhm.
You know. So yeah, so people just create a routine, create that love routine, and musically, you know.
Okay, so one more question I have. So that's your morning, your start, get your day going. So that leads into you have a full day, then you have a show, and you go to a big performance and you do your thing. What's the first thing you do to decompress after a performance, whether it was a killer, amazing performance or you're hard on yourself? How do you decompress and how do you recenter yourself after?
It's a great question. And being very transparent. Can somebody grab me a Jameson? And then after that,
I'm a Scotch drinker, man. I get it.
Yeah, well, and see, for me, you know, to maybe kind of help your answer a little bit.
Yes.
Once I get done performing, I'm relaxed.
yes,
I'm normally very relaxed after I've performed because you just kind of you let it all out, and it's very
Yes.
it's very cathartic to be on stage and
Yes.
just to kind of just let yourself go.
Yes.
And it's just you kind of come up and it just feels like it's just this tension is just gone.
Yeah.
You were nervous before you got on the stage, maybe
Yeah.
possibly. There's always a little bit of jitters, but it's just like just kind of just
Yeah.
let it go.
Oh, yeah.
I like to be also around my band family too.
Mhm.
Oh yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I want them in the room. Like
Right.
I want to see you. I want to feel you guys. I just want the energy. I want family. I want everybody in the room. Just so I can just be like, okay, you know, we good? We're good. All right. Y'all go ahead and go off and do whatever, you know? Yeah.
Well, let me tell you, it's been an absolute honor to have you on the show. It's so good to see you after so
So
long.
good to see you.
Oh my
thank
gosh.
you.
It's been so long. I'm so glad you came back. You guys need to head to Amazon, Spotify, wherever you listen to music right now. And eventually these physical copies will come out because I think the demand is coming because it's such a great album. It's such a raw, energetic sound, and it's got a lot of good vibes in there, not just, you know, songs that are just kind of put like in a really structured way.
Yeah.
There's a lot of intros and a lot of vibe and a lot of just kind of, you know, letting it breathe, as you mentioned.
Yep.
There's a lot of those types of moments on the album. It's fantastic. It's a really good feeling album. Check it out. It's called Live at the Cafe Wah. And you're going to be there on March. Thank you for putting that up. It's going to be at March 8th in New York at Cafe Wah again. And then after that, after you guys kind of work things out a little bit, you guys are hitting the road and actually hitting the boat or the plane and going over to Europe and gonna do the European tour, which is going to be absolutely fantastic. You guys are gonna be in a variety of different places. Obviously, you've been watching it scroll at the bottom of your screen. Head to livwarfieldofficial.com and you'll be able to see all the dates and everything. And it's and of course there are the dates. There's some of the dates right there, some of the places. But you absolutely positively have to check it out. It's fantastic. The album is great, and you got to see her live because when you see her live, it will change you, and then you won't miss a show from there on out. So.
Blessings. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Liv, thank you so much for joining us. It's been an absolute honor.
Thank you very much. What a pleasure. It's so much fun. So thank you.
And reach out to me via email, funkatopia@gmail.com, and I will put you in touch. Well, I'm going to reach out for you on behalf for the Joyce thing, and we'll make that happen.
Thank you so much.
And we're going to get a show or two here in Atlanta. So it's
Oh
coming.
yes,
Yes.
please. Oh,
But I
that-
mean, but if the invite for the Chicago thing comes before that, we'll do that. We'll do
okay,
that.
that has to happen.
Absolutely.
All right, Liv. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank y'all so
you.
much.
All right. Bye bye.
Bye bye.